Okay guys, welcome back to the channel once more, and once again, let's look at some stuff which are just crazy. Here we have the Great Chicago Fire, 1871. Freemasons everywhere. That's right, that's why I'm calling this title of the video like that, because guys, why is this guy posing in the typical Freemason form with hiding the hand? I mean, that is just ridiculous. Also, as you can see here, these people, these gentlemen are posing here very nicely in the rubble, almost as if it was what? Staged. That's right. So remember, we talked about the history and the fact that many things, Black Flag events in history, are modified and changed. This photo here just is absolutely shocking. And behind these gentlemen, we have another group of gentlemen down back here who are also posing for a picture, as you can see here. So for some random reason, when the fire happened, instead of actually doing the work, they were posing for photos in very interesting and weird ways. Why would they do that? It just doesn't make any sense. Unless, of course, this is a clear evidence of how things were manipulated back in the day and how the fires were most likely caused on purpose. Here we have another one. I mean, this is just hilarious. This guy is just casually like painting the building or something in front of him in the middle of the ruins, almost like not caring or whatever. It's just some of these photos are just shocking because you see them and you're like, guys, this doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But also, we have another problem with Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is one of the most interesting aspects of history, and there are a couple of reasons for this, which are quite important. The cities of Mesopotamia were literally melted and covered with about 30 to 40 meters layer of soil. Dozens of cities have been excavated in Mesopotamia. Judging by the finds, these were developed by civilizations with cities of multi-thousand people. In those days, gardens bloomed in Mesopotamia and agriculture was amazing and other stuff. The major waterways of the region were two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. But there's the problem here. Dams don't just break and inundate cities. The reason? The highest temperatures, which literally burn out all living things. The temperatures reached about 1.5 to 2000 degrees Celsius, which turned the sand into greenish glass, and the stones from which the structures were built began to melt. That's right, you're hearing this right, guys. When the discovery was made, they discovered that effectively we are seeing a lot of melted buildings. This just cannot be the case, and melted sand which started to become glass. Why would this even happen in Mesopotamia when nobody had the technology thousands of years ago to melt entire cities? Unless the people who melted them were, of course, not the humans as we know them, but a very different advanced civilization, and the humans were just purely their slaves, okay? If you get my gist, you get it. Basically what I'm saying is that ancient history, as they tell it to us, is completely ridiculous because it does not cover the actual truth of the discoveries we are finding deep underground, which completely obliterate the official narrative. I have another one for you. This is another occult history, the Rupes Nigra, the Black Rock. Mercator described the island, Rupes Nigra, alright, in a 1577 letter to John Dee. This is what he says about this interesting piece of rock. In the midst of the four countries, in a whirlpool into which there empty these into indrawing seas which divide the north, and the waters rushed and descended into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. It is 4 degrees wide on every side of the pole. That is to say 8 degrees altogether, except that right under the pole there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. Its circumference is almost 33 French miles, and it is all magnetic stone, and it is as high as the clouds, so super high. So the priest said, who had received the astrolabe from this minaret in exchange for a testament, and the minaret himself had heard that one can see all round it from the sea, and that it is black and glistening. Very interesting, guys. This is a very interesting letter. But of course, it tells us about the fact that yes, in the North Pole there was and there is still a rock which is in the middle, the black rock, the Rupes Negra, the Mount Meru, effectively, which Google Maps, by the way, it's hiding. If you go to Google Maps and you try to go to the North Pole and the South Pole in the center, all right, you cannot see anything. It's completely censored and hidden. And finally, guys, let's finish off with this one because this one is just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. Let's start. So first and foremost, Operation High Jump, 1946, discovery of the ice wall. Operation Deep Freeze, 1955, discovery of the firmament. Straight away, 1958, the firmament is the Van Allen belts. Next, Antarctic Treaty, 1959, guarding the firmament. Next, Operation Fishbowl, all right, 1962. A fishbowl is an inverted dome, very important, nuking the dome or the firmament. And then finally, Apollo 11, 1969, hoax to hide the actual firmament. Guys, need I say more? I mean, this is pretty obvious. This series of events, which started from 46, as you can see here, they're clearly coordinated, organized, okay, one after the other, to effectively create a narrative and not tell the people the truth of what's actually out there or of what's actually keeping us from going out there, the firmament. But anyway, this is just, of course, a theory. You may have a different theory. You may believe that this is just a pure coincidence and there's nothing to it. You may believe that the moon landing was 100% true and the astronauts landed and it was all amazing and great stuff. I mean, you know, respect. If you believe that, 100% go for it, mate. That is absolutely fine. But from my point of view, it just stinks too much. It just smells of rotten lies, at least from my point of view. But guys, that's it for today's video. As always, see you later in my next upload.